Welcome back. We are talking to Ambassador Cameron Munter, his last interview as ambassador in Pakistan. Ambassador, we were discussing this draft of the under discussion in US House of Representatives. What is your personal opinion? Do you think that after the restoration of the NATO supply line, US House of Representatives should give some kind of serious consideration to this draft?
I think what's really important is that with the opening of the NATO supply lines, we have put, I hope, to an end a period of 6 months at which we weren't having the really enough high-level conversation. So I can't speak for Congress. They have to draw their own conclusions, but I can speak for the top levels of the American government and the executive branch that we need to have much more discussion about where we're going to go with, say, assistance for the military. How can it best be used? Assistance for Pakistan in the civilian area. How can we communicate to the Pakistani people that the amount of money that we spend is having an impact on their lives, that we're helping them with energy, with economics, with education? That is where that discussion has to be. If there is a public discussion in the United States that's in our Congress, well, I urge you to pay close attention to that. I know my counterpart, Sherry Rahman, spends a lot of time talking with the Congress. It's important to hear them. But what we need to do is also talk about how we can make sure we take advantage of the end of this pause to have a really constructive discussion about where we go from
What
here.
kind of suggestions you discussed with Sherry Rahman or with other Pakistani officials, confidence-building measures to bridge gaps between US and Pakistan?
Well, I'm always a big fan of trying to build what I call a social link to match the state link. We have people, say General Allen or General Mattis, who can come and talk to Mr. Kayani. We have Mr. General Sahir, who can talk to David Petraeus. We can have all kinds of people talking at the state level. The civilians, our parliamentarians, talk to your parliamentarians. What I think needs to be done, and I've talked with Sherry about this, is we need to make sure that we have better links between our businesses, better links between our universities, better links between our media, all the institutions that make Pakistan a strong society, because ultimately that's the face of Pakistan that America has to see. And unfortunately, when people don't travel very much, we don't see as much of that. There's problems on both ends in travel. Some Americans are afraid to come to Pakistan because they think it's not secure. Some Pakistanis believe they have problems with visas. These are the kinds of issues we have to work on so that we can build a strong social link that matches the state link, and that's what I like to talk to Sherry about.
But some people in Pakistan think that the ultimate target of United States is the nuclear program of Pakistan. The Americans actually want to denuclearize Pakistan.
Well, I think those some people who think that should do more homework.
Should do more homework.
They should really take a look at our policy and how positive we are about the future of our relationship on a wide variety of elements to make sure that a strong Pakistan, a stable Pakistan, is in everyone's interest. I think those kinds of things, those kind of more alarmist positions, they're not the positions of serious people.
So US is not against our nuclear program?
US is for a strong and stable Pakistan.
You are a good diplomat, I am a journalist, so I cannot argue you, but my question is that tell us, US is not against the nuclear program of Pakistan?
I'll tell you what the US is for. We are for a strong and stable Pakistan.
Okay. You recently said in a BBC Urdu interview that Mr. Nawaz Sharif and Mr. Imran Khan, they are not against America. And they told you in their meetings that when they will come into power, they will not oppose the US policies in Pakistan. But Imran Khan denied that claim made by you. So now you are going back, tell us the truth.
I always tell the truth. I'm a diplomat. Diplomats always tell the truth.
Okay.
No, the point is that I like talking with Imran Khan. I like talking with Nawaz Sharif. These are people who I believe want to be friendly to the United States. And in fact, they represent a country, Pakistan, where most people want good relations with the United States. They're concerned about respect. They're concerned about transparency. They want to see a relationship that they feel good in. I understand that. But they have both told me that they want better relations with us. That was what my point. They want better relations with the United States, and I take them at their word.
When you last met Imran Khan?
I can't remember. It was in the last few months.
Which Pakistani politician impressed you a lot?
All Pakistani politicians impress me. All of them.
Including Maulana Fazlur Rahman?
Including him. Yes, he's an impressive guy. You know, you have a lot of people in your country who are shrewd, who are smart, who love Pakistan. These are the people who your people have elected. We're going to engage with them. Sometimes they will say things that seem to be critical of the United States. But what we take at face value is when they say that they want to see better relations between the United States and Pakistan, we take that at face value and we want to work on that with them.
Who you think is the most powerful man in Pakistan?
I think it's a very remarkable man whose name is Hamid Mir.
Okay, thank you very much, but I will go again. In this book, David Sanger writes, Kiani is the most powerful man in Pakistan, and he writes about the US government that when they wanted to get something done, they ignored the civilians and called Kiani.
I don't think that's true. I think there is a perception in Pakistan that Americans somehow prefer the military rule. You have the historical narrative that goes back to the time of Zia-ul-Haq, or it goes back to the time of Musharraf. And many people in Pakistan believe somehow that the Americans want to see this because they're more comfortable with that. To me, this is a narrative which is very, very dangerous because we are absolutely committed to the success of democracy. And when people get into this narrative, it's kind of paralleled by a narrative in the United States, which is Pakistanis take our money and they lie to us, you know? And when Americans say that, this begins to sink in as something that people believe about Pakistanis. And then the Pakistanis believe about the Americans. They prefer to deal with the dictators or something like this. It is intellectual laziness to depend on these kinds of narratives. We have to look at the problems the way they are now. We have to look at the problems that your democratic government, whether it's perfect or not, your democratic government has to address problems. We want to address them with us. And these kinds of discussions that we somehow prefer working with the military, I just don't think that's constructive.
So you are still committed with democracy in Pakistan?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Some people says, I have heard some people saying in Washington that actually the military is good for United States. The Pakistan is not fit for democracy because in democracy there is no chain of command. If there is a dictator, the United States can talk to only one man. But if there is democracy, you have to talk to all the coalition partners. So that's why in one of the discussions with some American intellectuals, I was thinking that they want a dictatorship in Pakistan.
Look, I think we are honest about the shortcomings of democracy in Pakistan. Any intelligent Pakistani tells me the same thing. The democracy came back and it has a ways to go before all of the institutions are strong. It's not only a question of what the civilian institutions have, but how they deal with the army. We think every country needs to have an honest, strong, capable army under civilian control that is the way to deal with problems. Now, all of these issues need to be worked out over time. That's something we want to be supportive of. We don't want to take sides in that sense. We want to see those institutions and those people develop in a way that it becomes easier to solve problems. I'd have to say, one institution we look to is the media. We think the Pakistani media has made extraordinary progress, but you too can become more powerful and more constructive over time, and I hope we, as friends of the Pakistani media, can help that as well. I'm optimistic that we're going in the right direction, that the institutions are going the right way, but there are such big problems, economic problems, international problems, that it's going to be a big challenge for Pakistan. I hope that Pakistan gains the confidence, which I sometimes don't see. I hope that Pakistan gains the confidence to solve these issues, to have the confidence in its institutions, and to solve the questions where these Americans you've talked to can say, we talk to the elected leaders of Pakistan, and we think they're the people who can talk frankly to us and we can solve problems.
So United States will not support or help any military government in future?
The United States will always support a democratic Pakistan.
Okay. Is it true that you recently prepared a report, sent it to Washington, and the report claims that Imran Khan will sweep the next election? I read this report in some Pakistani newspaper.
That is not true.
That is not true? Oh, a very big journalist have written a column on this so-called report.
That's one of the questions about the Pakistani press. I wish that journalist had asked me. I could have told him the truth.
Now tell us, what are you going to miss about Pakistan when you will go back?
There's many things, obviously. First and foremost, my Pakistani friends. They're great people who I've met here who I really treasure. I will miss biryani, but my wife is an excellent cook, and she has the recipe from our cook, and so I'll be having biryani at the States, but I'm not sure it'll be quite as good. I'll miss some of the kind of natural beauty here. I don't know if you're aware, maybe you're used to it because you live here, but the birds in your country are fabulous. I used to sit outside my house and just be able to look at the birds that are unique. You know? So these kind of natural things in your country, the beauty of your country, the history of your country, the people, and the food, are all things that I'll miss very much. I'll tell you what I won't miss. I won't miss some of the things that puzzle me about Pakistan, that smart people tend to blame other people for their problems. I hope that as a friend of Pakistan, people will understand that when I say this, it's not that I'm complaining you blame us for everything. I'm saying it hurts Pakistan when you do this. If you say that we have a problem and it's the United States' fault, that there's only terrorism because of the United States, that you only have a problem because of, you know, India did this or the Zionists did this, if you blame outsiders, you're not going to solve your problems. I hope that those people in this country who do that take a look at themselves and say, it's not that you really have to say you're at fault for everything, but you do have the responsibility to take it on. That's something I won't miss, that tendency to blame others. And I hope that as the political system matures, that tendency to look outside for enemies will lessen.
Don't you think that the US presence in Afghanistan will always be a problem for most of the Pakistanis?
I think that the war in Afghanistan is a very tough war, not only for Pakistan, but for us. It's an unpopular war. It's a difficult war. It's a war that's fighting for very important ideals, but we all admit no one likes a war that goes on this long. So I think that what we're looking for is a change in the relationship with Pakistan and Afghanistan that I hope will be positive. If after 2014 there's a change in the American presence, a much more limited military presence in Afghanistan, the commitment of all of Afghanistan's friends towards economic growth and development, a commitment for all of the people in the region, Pakistan, Afghanistan, even India, even Central Asia, for kind of a prosperity that's a regional prosperity. This can change, I think, the relationship of America and Pakistan. In fact, I would argue we spend too much time talking about America and Pakistan when what we ought to be talking about is the region and the friends of Pakistan and the region outside the region. That is, not so much how does America think about Pakistan, but how does the South Asia, Central Asia region deal with Europe, Japan, America, opening up Pakistan to reach the potential that it should reach. When we narrowly look at ourselves, maybe we limit ourselves too much.
Are you sure that United States will ever leave Afghanistan?
I don't think we plan to leave Afghanistan if by that you mean that we won't support them. We're committed to supporting democracy in Afghanistan. So there will be an economic support, and we hope that if it's necessary, that we'll be there. You know, we have committed that we'll be there militarily if that's what they need through our agreement with them. But the point here is to see a region that is at peace, that is stable, and we wish the same thing for Pakistan that we wish for Afghanistan: stable, prosperous, and at peace with its neighbors. I think that that means, yes, we want to stay involved, but the face of how we stay involved, I hope, will be more focused on development and on business than it will be on this terrible war that's been fighting for 10 years.
But there is a small contradiction. The United States want to talk to Taliban in Afghanistan, but United States don't want Pakistan to talk to their Taliban.
What we have said is that anyone who is interested in supporting the Afghan constitution, anyone who is interested in breaking with Al-Qaeda, anyone who is interested in peace, laying down their arms, we and the Afghans, and I hope the Pakistanis, will talk to. Let's make it clearly clear. We want to see a Pakistani place at the table. We want to see Pakistan's legitimate concerns be aired, but the process is primarily an Afghan-led process. The Pakistani government says the same thing. The future of Afghanistan has to be a future decided by the Afghans with the support of Pakistan and with our support as well, and the support of other well-meaning people in the region. I don't think there's a contradiction here. I think that what we have to do is have the mechanisms, which sadly we have not had enough meetings of in the last 6 months, have the mechanisms, for example, the trilateral meetings, etc., that have that kind of discussion that allow us to coordinate to make sure that the Afghans lead this process correctly.
Another time for a short break, and we will come back soon.